Okay. Music, you can barely hear it. All right. So let's start with the. Wait, guys, do you want to start with melees or ranged? What do you guys want to start as? Melee or ranged? What do we start as, boys? Do we start with the melees or do we start with the range? What do you guys prefer? See first. Okay, I'm gonna start with ranged myself, okay, and then we're gonna proceed with melees. Alright, so E tier. Do we need E tier? Probably no. Then I delete that row. Alright, we don't need an E tier. Talk about D tier. Now, which one I'll pick? Okay, I'm gonna probably put. Okay, so also there are specs. Alright, first thing first, where is the spec? Where is it? Where is it? Okay, D tier is gonna be Fire Mage. And I'm gonna put also is that melee or range survival hunter? I don't know. I'm gonna put Warlock and Fire Mage on a D tier. Okay, I'll tell you the reason why. Fire Mage right now is extremely cooldown dependent. It's very low scaling. Frost Mage does way more than a Fire Mage, and it feels like there's no need for you to play fire. The damage is like it's not bad, but it's like nowhere near Frost Mage. For that sort of reason, I wouldn't recommend you to play Fire Mage. If you want to play a Mage, the only default spec is gonna be Frost for you. So, in my opinion, you should be focusing on specking to Frost. The reason why I choose Warlock to be on a D section is very simple. Warlock is, again, it is not as mobile. It provides not enough DPS. Utility-wise, it's nothing extraordinary. And it just feels right now is severely undertuned. I don't think there's anything else to be said. Number-wise feels weak. The spells themselves doesn't interact with each another, and generally not a great spec overall. It most likely will get scaled down the expansion. Same with Fire Mage. Fire Mage most likely will become very strong later the tier once it scales a bit with secondary stats. But those two are going to be on my D tier. This is entirely for Mythic Plus, and this is entirely my opinion. So if you don't agree with me, that's completely okay. Everybody is entitled to have their own opinion about it. Okay. C tier. I'm gonna put a where is the Beastmaster Hunter C tier. The same thing. Scaling is extremely bad on a BM Hunter. Currently has very low haste, meaning that global cooldowns are very high. You cannot spam your abilities. The interactions with your spells are no longer the same as, for example, in BFA. If you guys know, rapid reload with a high haste made Aspect of the Wild pretty much permanently as a city. Same thing with the Bestial Rat. Higher haste, higher crit made your bar shot recharge so much faster, and your Bestial Rat was like very high. So I would say BM Hunter to be reasonable good in Mythic Plus needs to hit a higher scaling. So meaning that later the expansion will get much better. I believe that. As for now speaking, BM Hunter is inferior when it comes down to range classes. So if you want to play a Hunter, your go-to spec is going to be Marksman Hunter. BM is not as good. So I would say I'm going to put it on a C tier. Another spec I'm going to go put on a C tier for now is going to be Affliction Lock. Affliction Lock is slightly better than Demon Lock. Now, before you guys start to judge me, before you go apeshit on me, let me explain why do I think Affliction belongs to the C tier. Now, I believe that the later the expansion gets, usually dot classes scale extremely good, meaning that this will most likely become B or A tier depending on how the secondary stats work for that spec itself. Same reasons, slightly higher overall than Demolock, but great single target, great sustainability and survivability as well. Like, it has a higher impact. Drain Life actually saves you a lot when it comes down to, like, let's say prideful situations where you have to heal yourself, use defensive. So Affliction is not that bad, especially on a if you have like multiple targets and you have to pry one. Affliction is not bad at all. The problem is very high skilling cap. Most of the time it's very hard to play it in pucks. I would say that if you want to play Affliction, you just have to wait slightly until the scaling hits. Overall, great spec, probably gonna be top tier for raiding. But what is good for raiding might not be good for Mythic Plus. Remember that. And as I said, this is just personally my opinion about it. So I'm gonna put Affliction on a C tier. B tier. I'm gonna put Elemental Shaman first on a B tier. Actually, I forgot one. Sorry, I forgot one spec for the C tier. Arcane Mage. Arcane Mage goes on a C tier for the same reason. Low overall output. It doesn't provide any utility to the party. There's no slow like in the Fire Mage. Or there might be, I'm just not entirely familiar with it. From what I've seen, numbers wise, it's nowhere near Frost Mage. And currently feels clunky to play. I don't think it's as good as Frost Mage. So purely performance-wise, I'm just gonna put it on a C tier. I don't have enough information or knowledge on that particular spec. I might be wrong on that. That's just my opinion. If you guys know more about it, you can tell me. But that's what I think. I think it deserves to be in a C tier. Elemental Shaman is sleeper S tier. Just watch. Okay. The reason why I'm gonna put Elemental Shaman on a B tier right now is because I am making this tier list today. Today is 24th of September. Based on the previous patch, actually based on the changes which hit yesterday night. Elemental Shaman right now is slightly on the weaker side. I would say mediocre at most, right? So they changed the way Elemental Blasts worked with our legendary, specifically the Earthquake legendary. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I'm just gonna, if I clip this for YouTube, I'm gonna put it on a screen on the side so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But there was a legendary that enhances your Earthquake by 250%, and every time you place Earth Shock or Elemental Blast, they remove the Elemental Blast, meaning that you have to use Maelstrom spending ability to make sure that you get the buff, and then afterwards you're gonna put Earthquake. I'll give you an example. If you fight the mobs, if I upload this on YouTube, I'm just gonna put my VODs of me playing Shaman so you guys can see what I'm doing, and yeah, you can see it for yourself. But pretty much, let's say you fight a pack, okay? You fight a pack and then there's 10 mobs. Before you even put an Earthquake, you have to use an Earth Shock and then an Earthquake. It doesn't make sense. You lose a lot of uptime and DPS. Before that, you could use Elemental Blast into Earthquake, easy clappers, no problem, right? But they fixed it now, so meaning that it will be not as good. So my prediction, and I even made a video like 4 days ago, which is happened to be very accurate. B tier, solid B tier for now, from what I've seen. All right, another class on a B tier, solidly because of their utility. Now, Boomkin is not particularly strong when it comes down to the damage, but utility-wise provides combat trace and trends. Trends are very, very important when it comes down to survivability on the tanks. Most of the tanks right now, they struggle with keeping themselves alive, unless they have a cheat death, like for example Demon Hunters. But there's some packs and some mobs, for example House of Atonement, those dogs that run around, they literally slap you so hard you're like dead after 2 pulls. Having trends on that and you being able to catch as a tank is just such a pain relief. So definitely gonna help out on a healer or a tank. Also Innervate, very, very strong for the new affix, which was prideful, right? So sometimes could save a tank, and it's very mobile spec. You have a stealth, off healing, just generally very good. You have Vortex and Typhoon, Mass Roots. If you have even stun, if you wanna spec it. High single target, which is very useful. You always decent, not the best, not the worst, I guess. But the way they changed Starfall, it's slightly better as what it was in BFA. So definitely deserves a B tier. It jumped from C to B tier in my opinion. All right, what is next on the list? Let me check what is next on the list. A tier. What am I gonna put in A tier? A tier. First thing is gonna be Frost Mage. Why I'm putting Frost Mage on the A tier? Provides great double cleave, probably the best double cleave in the game together with Destrolock. Very high overall, good utilities. Having a slow can help the tank survive hard pulls, I guess. Generally high single target as well. So that's something I like to see myself. Very mobile spec, and it doesn't require you to set any damage or any preparation. As Fire, for example, Fire Mage you need to play around the combust. Frost Mage you can just blast DPS like with Frozen Orb build and so on. So solid A tier. It does not deserve S tier. It does not have the numbers of the S tier for now. So yeah, that's what I think. Okay, another class spec to be put on the A tier is gonna be Shadow Priest. Why do I think Shadow Priest deserves to be A tier? Because currently, even with the current buff, by the way, they buffed it last night. Shadow Priest seems extremely strong number-wise, and I believe when it scales a bit more, and if it remains unchanged, this is most likely going to be the highest DPS class. I'm going to quote for now. Shadow Priest might be the best class for raiding, and it might be the best class for Mythic Plus. If it remains unchanged for PvP also, will be extremely strong. The spec itself feels very nice to play. It does not provide as much utility as other classes, but the overall damage kind of compensates for that in a way. So I would say Shadow Priest looking very, very good so far. Obviously has a stamina buff, which is something, but nothing out of the ordinary. Yeah, so off heals as well with Shadow Embrace. You provide some off heals, which is useful sometimes, especially on Grievous Week to help healing, or generally on a hard pull, so some hard bosses could probably relieve some pressure off your healer. So that S tier. Okay. Finally, S tier. What I think is going to be S tier are two classes, two specs actually that I haven't changed so far. It's going to be Destrolog and it's going to be a Marksman Hunter, which is right here. Now, why do I think those two? I'm going to talk about first Destrolog. Destrolog has insanely high overall damage, meaning that you literally can destroy packs, delete packs in a way. It has an uncapped AoE, especially with Rain of Fire. You can stack as many Rain of Fire as you have. And generally very good cleave to targets. With Chaos Bolt, extremely high single target as well. Definitely very, very good spec for Mythic Plus. It will be very good for raiding and it's going to be very good for PvP. So generally Lock is looking very strong unless they nerf something. That's why I respect you for being so beautifully worded. Thank you. So yeah, I think Lock is looking very solid. Marksman Hunter. Now this is something I've spoke as well in the past. I think the current problem with the Marksman Hunter, I mean, if you guys have seen the build today, the build today is insanely buffed. It should be nerfed 1000%. It has insane high values, and it will most likely be nerfed in the next couple of days. So that's due to be discussed. But outside of this, Marksman Hunter provides great utility to the group. High overall damage, high AoE damage. You have slow, immobilize, you have trunk shot, which is remove and enrage effects, very, very useful by the way. Have a lust, feign death skips, you have immunity, you have off heals, acceleration, you can move while you cast, very mobile spec, so definitely very solid overall. I think that is my favorite spec so far. Looks very nice to play, the gameplay is not hard, easy. And at the same time, it rewards you when you play correctly. So I really like Marksman so far. Even if they nerf it, it's still gonna feel nice to play. But definitely Night Fae Marksman right now is insanely busted. I mean, I can show you. If you haven't seen the stream today, I can show you some clips, or I can show you kind of a highlight of what the spec looks like. But pretty much you can burst up like 70 to 80k. You can even burst 100k if you're good enough. It depends on the pool density. You think Shadow Priest Hunter are good to have as a main out? So I'm gonna do that. I'm not sure if I spoke about it, but if you type in my chat !main, I'm gonna main main either Elemental Shaman or a Marksman Hunter or a BM Hunter, depends what is better. And my ult are gonna be Shadow Priest, Boomkin or Druid, and then Rogue as well. So that's it. I'm gonna definitely play Shadow Priest. If not the Mythic Plus, at least you're gonna see me progress on raiding. And if I like it, I might even play the Mythic Plus, regardless of how good it is. But it looks very solid, I'm not gonna lie, it's very good. So this is my prediction, guys, for Mythic Plus Season 1, what I think is gonna be meta. I can talk about what I think is gonna be... I can think I can tell you like what I think is gonna be meta later on the tier, but this is like the early prediction of what I think. We are not on pre-patch yet, so... we don't know everything, but that's pretty much like the general look from my perspective and how I see it as a high, especially high Mythic Plus, like to low Mythic to low kind of a mid Mythic Plus. I think 15s and 20s is where these specs are gonna perform the best, especially like dot classes. Like dot classes will shine when once the key level goes up. For example, Booming Shadow Priest, Afterlock, they're all gonna shine more the higher the key goes, because the mob health is getting higher, meaning they can stack and their dots can ramp up even more. Do you think Destrolog is going to be a bit more gear dependent than other specs? sort of like Fire Mage in 8.3. Most likely, yes, Vintage. The better the gear, the more you're gonna scale. But I don't think you're gonna scale as good as some other classes. For example, I think Shadow Priest will have the insane scaling. Shadow Priest, Affliction, both are gonna have insane scaling, and I think they're gonna outtake the Destrolock, even on single target like clear fights. Maybe, we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. But no, Lock, as you can see, Lock is right here, S tier. So Affliction is here. No Petko Lock. Nope, I am not playing Lock in Shadowlands as my old 100% decided for that. Dimitri, so you're not gonna see me playing Lock, unfortunately. Shadow Priest, a fun play style. I don't know much about it. Shadow Priest is extremely fun to play. I don't know if I showed you guys on stream. Maybe I didn't, but I also have Shadow Priest ult and I play it myself. It's really fun to play, and it just feels rewarding. I don't know. I like it. I'm not gonna lie, I like it. Hunter main plus Shadow Priest ult. No, I haven't decided if I'm gonna be Hunter main, but I'm gonna be either Hunter or a Shadow Hunter or Elemental Shaman main. So either of those. And my Shadow Priest is gonna be ult together with my Rogue and my Balance Rate.